Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Analytical Fanboys. I am one of your hosts, the Modular King of the Content Ring, the Vacuuminator. We are into the 100s now, folks. This is episode 101, and I am joined, as always, by my co-hosts. He is the man, Boingo Rider.
We're just here fanging and banging, bro.
God damn it. And also, the toy man of modular media, Snowcone83.
Snowcone80 me.
Hey, I like that. That's the first time you pulled that. Oh, it's good. It's good. It's good. It's great. I like it. Ladies and gentlemen, this podcast is brought to you by Modular Media, the online creative co-op that the three of us comprise. You can help us out and support us by going ahead and giving this podcast a like, leaving a comment down below, subscribe, ring the bell in order to enable notifications, get every single podcast we put out as it comes, because we do mainly podcasts and live streams here, but we also have our own individual projects going on. That's why it's a collective co-op, and you can find out more about that at the end of the show. Right now, let's go ahead and delve into our main topic, which is something that Mr. Boingo Rider put on the list. It is the 1998 film Blade, which this was my first experience with it. I have heard about this movie for a very long time. It's just never been something I've gotten around to watching. But before we actually get into some discussion of the film, Boingo, why don't you give us a little bit of backstory on the movie and why you put it on the list?
So Blade is the first... The best way to put it is the first really good Marvel comic book movie.
Mm-hmm.
There had been a couple. There had been a couple straight to TV, Captain America, straight to TV.
Dolph Lundgren Punisher,
straight to DVD, straight to TV, Doctor Strange. And then, of course, the legendary Fantastic Four movie. But this was the first one to really hit theaters, be a success, and be a hit. And ultimately...
Before, like, Spider-Man or X-Men, right?
Yeah, no, this was 1997, I think.
Okay.
Hold on, let me double check real quick.
Or no, I'm looking at Wikipedia right now. This movie was 1998.
Okay, 1998. Which was also, like, a year before The Matrix, which I think is important once we start talking about the aesthetics of this movie.
Oh, this movie is super Matrix core.
But it also was a year before The Matrix.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a story of Blade, which is kind of he's more an elevated Marvel character now, but at the time he was basically like a D-list Marvel character who was just a background side player in the Tomb of Dracula books. Which was written by Marv Wolfman. You'll know Marv Wolfman more. I think he did Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Yep.
So yeah, he also created Blade. You pick which accolade is the more noted one. But this movie came out. It basically kickstarted Marvel being in the movie industry because right after this we had X-Men, and then after that we had Spider-Man, and we've been in the Marvel era of movies ever since.
Mm-hmm. People talk about like the superhero onslaught that's going on these days with the MCU, but like this is the real beginning of it. And even before this, you had shit like Tim Burton Batman and Christopher Reeve Superman, but fucking we have been in the superhero onslaught for over 2 decades now, if you count this movie as the start of it, which it kind of is, because it was like this, then X-Men, then Spider-Man, and it all kind of branched out from there. Things were on the ropes at this point with like, because Batman and Robin was the last really notable one, and in between that you had a bunch of obscure guys like The Shadow and The Phantom getting movies, which nobody remembers those movies well.
And there was also Steel.
Mm-hmm.
But it's always an interesting thing of like how Blade is the one that really kickstarted this whole thing, and it's a black-led superhero movie, and it's like, this is kind of a cool idea. It's kind of that's neat.
Oh no, this movie is amazing because it's got a black lead in an action movie. It's got a black female lead, and there's no romance subplot between them. And like, she has a ton of shit to do. This movie is all like this is super progressive for the 90s. All the shit that we're like pushing for super hard right now and like are just now starting to see with shit like Black Panther is right here in the 90s with Blade. It's kind of amazing how we had to kind of like loop back around to this. But Boingo, you and I have been going off for a few minutes here. Snowcone, how do you feel about Blade?
I really did enjoy the movie. It was my first time as well. I had never seen any slide. Shit, I don't even think I've seen another movie other than Demolition Man. So like that's my Wesley Snipes Demolition. That's what I was hoping for, expecting, or whatever. I enjoyed it definitely. The I don't know, like the car chase, the honor be like didn't like that. It was definitely a creative choice, strange to but everything else, it made me really want to watch the rest of especially with knowing that I think the Blade we're gonna get is not only supposed to be, or is it to be someone else?
No, it's the dude who played Cottonmouth in the Daredevil.
Luke Cage.
Luke Cage, yeah, Cottonmouth.
But apparently, it's also going to be heavily based on this version because that actor like campaigned to play Blade while he was on the set of Luke Cage. He's like, "Yo, Cottonmouth's cool, but I want to be Blade."
Well, I mean, to an extent, Blade is probably one of the most recognizable Black superheroes going, partially because of this movie.
And he's not even that much of a hero. Like, he doesn't hide or a superhero in like the tropial sense. He doesn't hide his identity. He doesn't have like a super big rogues gallery. He's just one dude fighting against vampires as a race.
And even then, in his original incarnation, he didn't even have powers.
Really?
Yeah. In the original comic, Blade. The origin of Blade was similar. Of like, pregnant mother was bit by a vampire right before she went into labor. Baby is born with some vampire-y stuff. Except Blade in the comic originally only was just immune to vampires. He couldn't get bit again and become a vampire. He was just a regular dude every other way. So beneficial for fighting vampires, but he didn't really have anything extra.
But he wasn't like a daywalker.
No. It wasn't until much later in the comics when Morbius bit him that he became a daywalker.
And now Morbius is getting a movie, which is crazy.
Because Morbius technically isn't a vampire, so Morbius is weird science vampire mixed with his partial vampire to give him the vampire stuff. In the movie, thankfully, they just cut out the middleman. Literally, because Morbius did have a cameo in the movie at one point, and they cut it.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. See, this movie is so interesting in just how simple it is. Like, I wouldn't say this is like a 10 out of 10, gotta see it, Jack, incredible action movie, but it's like a good, just like Sunday afternoon chilling out. Oh, this is on cable. I'm gonna watch this kind of a movie.
Yeah. I never knew he drove a Dodge Challenger.
Oh no, that car is so awesome, especially with the way it's portrayed in the movie.
Yeah, that's one of the only notes that I made. Because that scene where Whistler's fueling it up and he just like sprays it all over the back of it. I literally like winced. I was like, oh, what the fuck? Like,
yeah, I was like, God damn, I didn't even know you could do that with an old gas pump.
Like,
but that kind of just shows what they feel is like, no, these are tools. We got bigger fish to fry. Fuck vampires.
Yeah, but that's a real car, Chris.
I know. I'm talking his character action because goddamn, Chris Christopherson's one of the best parts of this movie.
Yeah. Another cool thing about this, like, you talked about Snowcone, how like you've only seen Wesley Snipes in one other thing. This is the only thing I've seen Wesley Snipes in, and I'm sure I've seen Chris Christopherson in like another bit part somewhere, but I didn't recognize him from anything. I was like, this guy's an awesome actor. Why haven't I seen him in anything? He's got such a cool like presence to him.
You do know what Chris Christopherson originally was, right?
I do not.
He was a country singer.
Really?
Yeah. He only did acting as like a side gig.
Okay. I'll have to look into his music.
Surprising.
Yeah, no, he's really well loved. Let's see, he was in Planet of the Apes.
Which one?
2001. Blade Trinity. He was on all three of the Blade movies. He was.
But he died.
Back. What's the major plot point of Blade?
Oh, does he come back as a vampire?
Kind of.
That's kind of stupid.
But
Having not seen it, I think that's kind of stupid.
Remember, though, the woman made a vampire cure if you get it into them fast enough.
Oh, okay.
So he's
So
kind
they
of
do carry that over. That's cool.
yeah. It's kind of, but it's also like hidden from Blade, and it's a reveal. I think he comes back. He definitely comes back in Blade 2, which was directed by Guillermo del Toro.
Okay,
Really?
so I'll definitely have to watch the second one then, because I've
Yeah,
always
and
heard like the first two are good, and then Trinity is terrible.
Yeah. And Blade 2 has Ron Perlman and Norman Reedus.
Ooh, Norman
And
Reedus.
doesn't it also have Ryan Reynolds?
No, that's Blade Trinity.
It's too bad Norman Reedus wasn't in this movie. He could have really helped out that fat vampire.
No, in Blade Trinity, there's Jessica Biel, Ryan Reynolds, Chris Christopherson, Paul Levesque.
Excuse me?
Yeah, Triple H is in Blade Trinity.
What the fuck? Who does he play in Blade
He
Trinity?
plays a vampire who carries around a vampire Pomeranian.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
I think he gets beat by Ryan Reynolds. Patton Oswalt's in the movie. Yeah.
In 1970, whatever the fuck.
But no, getting back to this movie, I think Blade is such an interesting character because he's very different from any other like comic book movie where he is a fully set up character. He's already into his thing, and his world, the world of the vampires, is a wholly separate character. Blood Doctor Lady, she's like our eyes in, which is very different from most superhero movies where you start off and it's an origin and the title character is your eyes in. But you're kind of experiencing the world through her, which I really dug as like a change of pace, even though it's such an old movie comparative to a lot of superhero films I've seen.
Yeah. Especially with because I think the big thing is this isn't a superhero movie. It is, but it's much more like a horror flick.
Mm-hmm. It's a horror vigilante movie before it's a superhero movie. Like, the only thing that makes Blade kind of a superhero is he has a few, like, cheesy moments where he does something that honestly seems a bit out of character. Like this fucking screen cap I'm gonna send you of him smiling.
I like that, though, but yeah, no.
Because you gotta realize, to us, he's a hero. To the vampires, he is fucking Jason Voorhees.
He's the goddamn Terminator.
What about the scene where it's like at the very end of the movie and they essentially have him react the same way that they'd expect the audience to react, where like he cuts fucking something Dorf. What's his name?
Steven Dorff.
Shitbird Dorff. Steven Dorff.
The character's name is Deacon Frost, which is probably the most 90s name ever.
Yeah, he cuts Frost in half, and then he like looks over his shoulder to see him come back together, and he mouthed, "Oh fuck." Like,
I missed that. That's great. But then also, like, probably my favorite moment in the movie, the biggest laugh for me in the movie anyway, is when the cops come in and start shooting at the vampires and hit him in his bulletproof vest, and he goes, "Motherfucker, are you out of your damn mind?" And it's like, whoa, where did that come from? That is not what I expected this character to say.
I appreciate it.
Blade has some great lines, especially the one I just quoted last podcast. Motherfucker's always trying to ice skate uphill.
That is such a bizarre line in context. Like, it's a cool saying, but it really feels like it was just shoved in there because they needed a line.
It's in there because Wesley Snipes wanted to say it.
See,
it's an ad lib.
There's two different stories. There's that story that it was an ad lib, because I went and looked into some of the behind the scenes on this movie, and fucking there's also a story where apparently he said that in a meeting. And David Goyer, who wrote this movie, fucking architect of most of DC's movies, he wrote this movie and he was in that meeting and he was like, "Oh, that's the line. We got to put that in the movie." And Wesley Snipes was like, "No, don't put that in the movie. That's just a thing you say. That's not going to work as the line." And then he's like, "No, that's the line." And it ended up being in the movie.
I mean, it's a good line.
Yeah. This whole movie is like an interesting cabal from behind the scenes, from what I can make out too, because a lot of it, like we talk about how it's so simplified and boiled down in comparison to the comic book, but I get the feeling that a lot of that was just them going with the flow on set, because apparently in the commentary, they talk about um the dialogue in the script was very different from how it is in the movie, and a lot of it was like adjusted by the actors, where Goyer was like, I'm good at the structure, but I can't actually get scenes and dialogue down all that well. So on set, we would be getting ready to shoot a scene, and Wesley Snipes would come up and say, like, I see you have me saying this here. What if we said it like this instead? And then Goyer and the director would just go like, oh no, that's much better.
I mean, like it or not, Wesley Snipes really does embody Blade.
Yeah.
Like, at least this version of Blade.
It's true.
By the third movie, he was fucking weird. Like, there was a scene where he was supposed to be on a medical table and open his eyes up menacingly, and he just refused to open his eyes, so they had to CGI in later.
What the fuck?
Yeah, he became, like, super prima donna by the third movie.
That's okay. I mean, this is also a guy who apparently like got big into drugs and then went to jail for tax evasion later.
Yep.
I mean, who hasn't done that?
Yeah.
It's true. That's true. I did that last Tuesday.
I don't know. Yeah, it's definitely weird that this came out before
Oh
that
no.
song they play.
Oh, yeah, no.
Honestly, if you would have taken this song and put it in that scene for The Matrix, and the song they used in that scene for The Matrix, and put it here, I feel like it would have been a better fit for you. Because that's a remix of Dragula in The Matrix, and this is an actual, like, 90s techno song.
Also, something really cool I noticed is this movie uses bullet time, and I saw it because it's just in one little shot, and I just went like, oh, that's probably the best use of bullet time outside of The Matrix. And then I was like, oh, this movie comes out a year before The Matrix.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's fascinating to me that they're so similar, very different movies in terms of what they want to say and what they're doing, because this is a dumb popcorn horror flick.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some subtext you can kind of read it into it, but you have to read into it. Because you notice our two main leads are black people, and the person they're fighting is a guy named Deacon Frost, a guy who is new money, who is going up against people who are old money. And like there's definitely some, you can look into some class and cultural and race dynamics within the movie. There is enough material there, but I don't think it was ever intentional.
I also really do like the aesthetic of Blade's outfit in comparison to like Matrix outfits, because he has the like long black trench coat and sunglasses that you see in the Matrix, but the rest of his outfit is so tactical. It's not just trying to show off. Like that big ass bulletproof vest and the fucking bubble jacket underneath it. That shit is tight.
The sheath for the katana has a hole in his jacket so he can slide it in.
Mm-hmm. It all feels so well thought out, and like it all sets each other off really well, which probably doesn't work in universe because he's supposed to be like funding himself by stealing shit and just piecing together things. But also, like it's a cool outfit meant to sell you on a cool character in a cool movie.
Well, it worked forever.
Oh yeah, no, like the Blade in the comics is forever going to have to look like this Blade. Like, he looked different before, he looks like this now. He looks like this to this day.
Now, my original exposure to Blade was from fucking
Spider-Man the animated series. Oh, Ultimate Alliance.
And I always thought my favorite look for him in that game, I'm going to try to look up the because he had a fucking like Vietnam outfit.
Yeah, that's how he looks in the fucking comics. I just looked that up. He's got like a brown fucking soldier's coat and like a green undersuit.
Yeah.
That's original Blade. But now you look at like a Blade appearing in a recent comic, he looks like Wesley Snipes' Blade.
Mm-hmm. And like the most recent Marvel Legends figure, I was told, is like a blending of comic book Blade and the way he looks in the movies. Let me see if I can find a picture of that real quick.
Oh yeah, I forgot. This is the second major Marvel movie to get like a big theatrical movie.
What was the other one?
Howard the Duck.
Let's pretend that didn't happen.
Yeah, see, like that's like it's contemporary, but also has like the boots and the kind of stuff. Yeah, but like, look, he has a head with the head tattoos.
Yep.
Yeah. They also, I think, Toy Biz and Marvel Legends, Toy Biz and Hasbro both recycle that he has in a fraction.
Yeah.
I think the motorcycle plays a bigger part in the sequel and 2. Yeah.
I'm only seeing a Toy Biz movie Blade that comes with the motorcycle, but maybe the Hasbro one's just harder to find.
Yeah, well, I mean, of course it has a Toy Biz toy. Look who produced the movie.
Yep, this is a fucking Avi Arad project, wasn't it?
Yeah. Produced by Peter Frankfurt, Wesley Snipes, Robert Eggman, based on Blade, starring, edited, production company Marvel, Amin Ra. So, yeah.
Another thing I found interesting about this movie is that, like, this probably dropped at like the perfect time because it's right during that late 90s, early 2000s vampire craze. Buffy the Vampire Slayer just started a year before this. I think the year after this, Angel starts. Fucking Interview with a Vampire comes out around this time, as well as Bram Stoker's Dracula. Like, this was part of a whole craze back in the late 90s when it was like, vampires are cool, but now let's make them super cool and badass. Probably like, I want to say 6 to 10 years before Twilight dropped.
Yeah, there was always that one Photoshop that someone did of Blade just hiding behind Edward from Twilight.
Oh yeah, I completely forgot about that. That used to be fucking everywhere.
Yep.
Because date myself a little bit, but probably make me sound super young to some people. One of the first things I remember from getting on the internet and getting involved in fandom discussions was people saying that Twilight sucked because it got rid of how badass vampires were supposed to be. Like back when Twilight was new.
Oh yeah, by the way, a Blade skin in Fortnite, it's just 1,000%. This Blade and thing else, it's 1,000. It's got 2 alternate things, and it's just him without the trench coat.
Wow.
Like, it's pretty spot on. I was pretty impressed.
Oh yeah, I just looked it up. It is literally that Blade.
I just realized once Morbius comes out, that's like 3 of like 6 of the Midnight Suns who have gotten the major movie.
Who's the other one?
Ghost Rider.
Oh, okay.
Because Ghost Rider's had a movie, Morbius is going to have a movie, Blade has a movie. It's just like, that's interesting. Especially because Midnight Suns is like not a very big Marvel team.
But horror is bigger in movies than it is in comics.
Oh, very much so. Like,
go ahead.
Marvel has a deep-rooted, long-standing tradition of horror comics within its superhero universe. Because if you want to technically consider them, Ghost Rider's a horror comic, Morbius, Blade, Tomb of Dracula, some issues of Doctor Strange, all of the monsters.
Mm-hmm. But like most of that is considered to be obscure these days in comparison to the superhero shit. Whereas like horror has always kind of had the same level of popularity in movies. Like different types of horror have come into popularity, but it's always been like, yeah, horror is a solid slot in movie release schedules.
Speaking of that, the New Mutants, that's very much trying to make a New Mutant movie into a horror flick.
Yeah, with varying degrees of success from what I hear.
Okay, I'm trying. I have something in my brain, and I'm trying to fucking prove it.
Oh,
Blade
dang.
came out in 98.
Yeah.
Twisted Metal 2 came out in 6. And Axel and Blade do have a...
I can definitely see that.
I doubt it. Heavily doubt it.
I doubt it was a major influence, but like...
I was going to think, maybe Blade influenced him, but he definitely...
Might be the other way around.
All right, well, fuck what I said.
But some more of the, like, it's a very simple plot, but what do you guys think of, like, how the movie flowed?
I think this probably has the best intro of any horror movie I've seen in quite a while. Like, just getting led into this world by this guy who is clearly being like from the moment you see them and start observing their interactions, if you know what this movie is about, you're like, oh yeah, this guy's getting taken advantage of by a vampire. But then you go through a fucking meat locker into a vampire nightclub where they get showered in blood. It's probably one of the best opening visuals to a horror movie I've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely good.
Did you notice the symbolism with what they were wearing?
What word? I did
All
not.
the vampires were wearing monochrome white and black.
Hmm.
And the blood woman and the first male victim who was getting led were both wearing red.
Oh.
So it's meant to like
Wesley Snipes is black. Oh my god.
Shit, it's late.
But no, like I think that's genuinely that scene has been seared into my brain because again, this is one of those movies that I probably watched just a little bit too young. Because I had this on VHS and I probably watched it when I was like 10, 10, 11 maybe. Nah, like this was in rotation for my flicks because I fucking loved this shit.
Makes sense. It's got a really unique and fun feel to it in comparison to especially a lot of other movies you probably would have encountered as a kid.
Like there's a few movies that I just go like, yeah, no, those probably really affected my taste in a lot of things, which is like Blade, The Mask, Evolution, Ghostbusters, Death to Smoochie.
I've never heard of Evolution or Death to Smoochie.
Evolution had a fucking cartoon. I love
Evolution. Okay, Evolution is basically Ghostbusters, but what if they're aliens?
Oh no, I have heard of this. I watched the Good Bad Flicks episode on it.
And Death to Smoochie is a really weird, fucked up movie starring Robin Williams and Edward Norton.
Huh.
Where Robin Williams plays like a television kids host, and he gets he gets caught with like drugs or something, so he gets fired. And Edward Norton's character basically gets hired to replace the show, and he's Smoochie. So Death to Smoochie. He plays Smoochie. So Robin Williams basically spends the whole movie trying to sabotage this man's career, including one very specific scene where Edward Norton's character is like giving out cookies to the kids who are on set while they're filming. It's like part of the bit for the show. And he pulls out a cookie out of a bag, and it's a penis.
Wow.
And like you're just sitting there looking at Edward Norton in a giant foam rhino costume, surrounded by children, holding a cookie in the shape of a penis, and he just goes, "Look, kids, it's a rocket ship."
That's amazing.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of just scenes and bits that like I remember, but I didn't genuinely remember, like the fat vampire scene, which is just great.
It's such a weird, bizarre creature and visual to have in your movie, but it kind of sets things off really well.
Because it's just Blade's asking questions, and he just looks at the female main character, and she just shines a giant fucking UV light on him. It's great.
Is it meant to be male or female? I had no idea because they say its name is Pearl.
I have no idea. I don't think it's supposed to matter. I think it's just supposed. Yeah. Honestly, the way they portrayed that character is how I would want Mojo to be portrayed in live action.
Yeah.
Whoa, that's interesting.
But you know who Mojo is.
Yeah, I do.
That's how I kind of always envisioned Mojo to be on screen, visually at least.
Honestly, the baddie I probably enjoyed the most is the cop familiar, just because I loved how like pathetic henchman he was. He was always like funny, but also slightly threatening, just because of his position. And also, unlike the other henchmen, he never got annoying. The guy who kept getting his hands cut off, I kind of got tired of.
I fucking love him.
That guy just reminds me of like, hey, I went to high school. Like, it feels like I went to high school with him, and I don't.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, that's kind of the point. He is supposed to be like a Arrested Development fuckhead because, yeah, he's a vampire. What the fuck does he have to grow up?
That's fair, but also fuck him.
Yeah, no, it's fucking hilarious to see him get shit canned the whole time, though.
Yeah, I just expected a more, like, I was kind of surprised when we didn't get more fucking, like, Megatron Starscream kind of deal with Frost, where, like, he was never, like, I just expected Frost to be like, fuck you, I hate you, you're dead. you failed me for the last time. But, like, it doesn't really do that. He's like, no, man, we need you. Like, he's obviously manipulating. It's just strange.
I think it might be because he has like a limited number of minions compared to the hoity-toity guys.
Maybe.
Yeah, but he does the whole scene. He has Blade's katana, and he's about to chop off the dude's arm. And he goes like, "Dude, I just grew this one back." Or the fucking club after they follow the cop, and it's just fucking Japanese schoolgirls on stage singing. It's like, I forgot completely about that.
That is like a weirdly specific idea, but I kind of love it.
I wonder if they were supposed to be like insinuating that these guys are Yakuza or something.
I think so.
Perhaps. I don't know. I kind of felt like they were just...
Yeah. I mean, that would really work with the fact that they're trying to hide and that be in plain sight. The sound design on this movie is a little weird too. Like, they use a lot of like superimposed growls.
Yeah, there's a lot of like those.
Yeah. I don't like... Sorry.
Go ahead.
I don't like vampires sounding like tigers. Or Frank Welker.
It's a lot of like weird, still trying to get used to digital editing effects added in.
Because like there's one moment, it's like it again right in that little bit in the car chase when you're having a montage of the world and you are now being privy to how much vampires are a part of it, and you see this one dude on the corner and it looks like, oh, he's kind of necking on a girl, and then he pulls his head up and there's blood, and you hear the roar, and it's like, oh, that's a little on the nose.
It is a cool little like world building moment though, because Blade and Whistler keep going like, oh yeah, vampires are everywhere. They could be anyone. You have to be careful, and like that's kind of the one moment that reaffirms that.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of fun bits and bobs.
Also, like the detail that Blade can like smell the vampires out in that one scene when they're getting ready to go into that safe house.
Yeah, I'm a pretty big fan of design of temple.
Oh yeah, the temple to yeah.
I don't know. I also appreciated the practical effect of like the stone runes splitting.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it's like the same one exact, like they definitely figured out how to do it once, and they're like, all right, 30 times, got it.
I like that they give detail and like backstory and lore to the vampires in this world of them having like ancient religions and traditions that have been forgotten with time. I do find it a little odd though that like then like it does clash with the fact that in that one scene they're so willing to like destroy the glass cases that the pages of their version of the Bible are in. I'm like, you think they'd be a little more careful in that movie or in that room?
I don't think they're trying to. I think it's Blaze just going like, no, fuck you, I don't give a shit. And they're they're unwilling participants in it because fuck, what are they gonna do? It's Blade.
I kept expecting there to be a moment in that scene though where they're like, we can't fucking risk this shit. We gotta get the fight out of this room. I don't know, maybe that's just me nitpicking, but
I mean they did.
Mm-hmm.
It was also a bit too handy. Whistler, I found this teeny piece of cloth that has almost everything on it.
Yeah.
I think it has like 10% of what they need, and then he hands them the hard drive.
I mean, it's based off.
Yeah. Besides, we already know all the information. They just needed to fill this guy in, and they could just go yada yada bada ba.
And that he.
But what'd you guys think of the CGI?
I didn't. Like, honestly, it's 2000 CGI. I was just kind of like, all right, that's happening. They disintegrate into CGI skeletons. That happens.
Yeah. But I was also thinking of when Blade sliced Frost at the end and it's just giant blood.
Oh, no, that was awful. That was horrifying. Legitimately, I hated that.
I didn't mind it too much. I just accepted it, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
I was like, whatever.
And all the elder vampires bursting into fucking skeleton gargoyles.
Yeah.
No, they bursted into skeletons that the gargoyles climbed out of for whatever. That's not explained.
They have tinier skeletons within their skeletons that have little bat wings. It's great.
I mean, it's a cool visual.
I did enjoy the few practical effects though, like the one guy exploding from sunlight. That was cool.
Plus, all the fight scenes are just really top notch.
Maybe.
Yeah. Blade.
Lad.
I definitely think Blade 2 is better, but I think it goes Blade 2, Blade Trinity.
It's in order.
Yeah, but Blade Trinity is also just hilarious and fun to watch because it's so trashy.
Yeah.
Hey, well, you know me.
I mean, you're friends with me. That means you like trash.
But yeah, no.
Myself.
Blade was pretty good. Do we have anything else we want to hit on really quick before we move on? No.
I don't think so.
I'm definitely glad it was the first big Marvel thing because it really planted a flag into what Marvel would be as a movie-going experience going forward, which is we're not going to downplay the dark bits. We are going to have some comedy, and we're going to be referential to the comic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, I just think it needs to be pointed out that Hajame's character arc is just a really cool precursor to what they later did with Machine Chaser and Kamen Rider Drive. I think, Blade Brave is actually a wonderful opening. It's really underrated. Elements is great, don't get me wrong. I like Elements, but Blade Brave is still pretty good. I don't know why people trash that song. And, okay, I'm done with this joke now. We're moving on. I had to get it in somewhere.
Yeah.
All right, are we ready to find out what we'll be discussing next week, gentlemen? Oh my god.
All week, every week. We're never getting off this endless ride.
Here you go. I figured out how to do it now, so I am sharing my screen so you can see I do actually use a random name selector. Big old spinny wheel here.
It's okay. I don't know how to get.
You click his name, and it should say hey, do you want to watch the stream?
Mm-hmm. All right.
I'm gonna some of your open tabs.
Cool. All right. I'm gonna spin the wheel in 3, 2, 1. Hey! It's one of my suggestions. Edge of Tomorrow, the Cruising Tom film.
Oh, this is the movie I shit my pants at.
What?
This is the movie I went to go see in theaters, and I shit my pants violently. So I guess next week we'll get to hear more about that.
Oh my god, dude. Those are words I never thought I would hear.
I mean, only shit yourself, Cody.
Oh, I know. It was rough.
Wow.
And we'll all know.
I can't wait. I genuinely can't wait. Oh my god. But you know what else can't wait? Fucking vibes, boys.
Because we're doing a wrestling podcast now, so we don't have to bother fucking Cody with it.
Not just a wrestling podcast, but a wrestling live show that airs right here on youtube.com/modular media every Thursday night. So you like wrestling? You enjoyed hearing us chat about wrestling during this show? Subscribe so you can watch that whenever it goes live. But right now, we're going to cut out that. No more wrestling talk on this show. It's finally back to being its own thing. And we're going to do some vibing. So, Boingo, tell me about your vibe.
I haven't really had much of a chance to do a ton of things because I think by the time this video comes out, we'll be able to genuinely talk about this in the air. So, I'm just going to bring it out. Me and Vac have been working on a little dumb shitpost project.
Oh, shit. You're doing that? Okay.
Yeah, no, I've just been programming that. There'll probably be a trailer for it sometime soon on Modular Media.
All right. Yeah, this will go up on Black Friday.
Oh, God. I'm sorry, Cody. You're going to have to deal with that this year. Every year.
What?
Black Friday, retail.
Oh, I've already... my hours on Black Friday, 7:30 in the morning to 9:30 at night. That's probably...
I do not envy.
Okay. Money. Just think money.
Get money, get money, get money, get money, get money, get money, get money. Okay, Boingo, tell us more about this shitpost. I say as if I don't know everything about it.
So recently AEW said, hey, we're going to be making video games. And one of their stars, a guy named Evil Uno, was making jokes, going what about a kart racer? What about this? What about that? One of them was, a John Silver dating sim.
And then somebody did fan art.
And I decided, fuck it, let's just do it and fucking get our names out there with the shit post. Let's fucking do it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're making a fucking John Silver dating sim.
I've already written the full script. You're just kind of editing it as you go in code.
Yep.
So I'm just picturing a dating related. So I'm excited for that, and I'll be completely crushing it.
It's basically a visual novel with a few branching paths set around wrestling characters.
Aren't we all?
So yeah,
Sort
I've been doing that. I've been reading some manga
Mm.
on the internet. Yeah, nothing I can really think of that really kind of big in that sphere. It's just kind of what I've been reading.
He's keeping on, keeping on. Hey, Snowcone, what's your vibe?
Well, I'm a guessing. I did complete Venom Pool, and I do like that a lot. It's awesome. But I think my fucking vibe is good. The yee haw ass time I had last night.
Yeah, tell us about this thing that delayed the recording.
So I randomly got invited to go up to Gainesville, and I was like, sure, I have the day off. I can get back in time, whatever. And then like I'm up there, and they're like, all right, there's this thing called the 352 shootout. That's at the Gainesville International Raceway. Taylor thought it was drifting, and I was like, no, that's not drifting. I'm like, and so what ends up happening? It's a drag race. And not only is it a drag race, it's one of my all-time favorite types of drag racing because I love funny cars, but it's daily driver drag racing. So these are people's either fucking baby projects that they have put every ounce of everything they have in to put it out there and get the fastest time, or they are some of the shit lordiest shit boxes that you have ever seen, and they are about to blow up on that fucking track.
Yeah.
And I'm equally there for both.
The quality disparity on that sounds entertaining as fuck.
Oh no, I've seen some like personal car drag clips. They're fucking hilarious.
And see, the thing I love about it is like I was with everyone who I'm gonna be living with, which was also cool. Because literally all my future roommates went out with us. So it was like me, Taylor, and then everyone else, and the guy who owns the place. And it was just a fucking awesome time. It ended up being, but dude, the fucking like I haven't been in that atmosphere in so long. And like donut media is kind of one of the things that have made me want to crave it again. But like that shit was like everything. What everything else is, like action figures and everything else is to me now, was what that was to me when I was like that was my worst fucking just engines. Just holy shit! Like some of the loudest things you've ever heard are what you expect to see. Also, the Gainesville motorway or the Gainesville speed is incredibly well done. It is very high tech, and I think it's strictly because of it's also the place where the Gator Nationals happen. Which
Is it only a drag strip or is there a circuit?
it's a drag, and I think it's a full mile too, not a quarter mile. But we did see some issues while we were out there. You know, we got to see a bunch of cool cars. I recorded a few of them, and then my phone died. I was also very impressed with the audio quality of my phone. In the videos I posted to Instagram, if those out, I thought that it was just going to be super.
What Instagram
garbage.
is that, Snowcone?
Never_robot, not Snowcone.
Okay, thank you. I'll go follow it now.
But you could actually hear everything. You could hear the conversations of people like sitting down the bleachers from me. And you could hear all the bullshit that I'm saying the entire time. Which is
because it
horrible.
Was like socially distanced, right?
Yeah, I mean, see, that was the other weird thing. It 100% wasn't and was at the same time. Like they had no precautions out whatsoever, but because there was almost no one there, no one's gonna sit by each other because no one wants to fucking do that. So we're all like equally spaced out by like five bleacher benches up, or like no one's sitting on the same row as us either. Like 5 bleachers down. It's pretty surprising. In some of the videos, you can kind of tell how spread out people are.
Yeah, I'm looking.
But man, what was crazy is we also got to see some funny cars. And I wish I got to take pictures of some of them. Somebody had a fucking convertible Mustang that was it looked like some Mad Max shit I've never seen in my life. And like they pull it around the corner and I like turn and I'm like, holy fuck. Like, And somebody brought a Honda Civic out there. God bless them.
Someone's got to rep some form of JDM. Because I'm looking at all these cars and it's like, oh, muscle, truck.
Oh yeah, there was a Datsun out there, which I was surprised about. Love that one.
Wow.
Sweet.
I think there was another one, but I couldn't tell. There was a bunch of Chevy Novas and a bunch of Chevelles, and those motherfuckers looked the same. So like all night, I'm just like, that's a Nova, Chevelle, Nova. That's a Nova. That's a Chevelle. That's a Nova. And then there was like the onslaught of Fox bodies that you cannot avoid if you go to any drag strip ever or just look at a car.
I mean, can you blame them? Fox bodies are cool.
Oh no! Almost every single time it was like anything versus a Fox body, it was the Fox body. If it was a Fox body versus the Fox body, it was the Fox body. You know, but it was a really fun time. I got a free koozie, which also made me feel right back at home. Fucking free beer koozie. Are you kidding me? And the only beer they served was fucking Budweiser, and I was like, man. Here I am. I'm fucking loving this. I was immediately back.
Question: are any of your upcoming roommates like rednecky, or were you the only? Were you translating?
I was literally translating the whole fucking thing.
Translating the redneckness to them so they can understand.
And like, I don't think I have any videos. One of my future roommate's boyfriends shows up, and like he knows a little bit about cars. And like I didn't know that, and he didn't know that anyone else there knew anything about cars. So like the second he's like, oh shit, that's a 2014 Mustang, and I like leaned forward and I was like, cars, like, and so like the rest of the night I was like, oh, we're just going like he didn't I don't think he was like as much about the muscly shit because like that's what I grew up loving anyways.
Mm-hmm.
But we still were like going back and forth, and like in a lot of videos you can hear me like explaining to Taylor and Noel about just anything, all of the stuff, because like they were just that's like the coolest fucking thing about these people that I'm moving in with is like they're so open to anything. Like whenever I came up there to meet them first, Taylor had already talked to them about all boy shit. And so they talk to me about that regularly. Like they're genuinely interested, and I think they actually are. Like unless it's a big fucking like trick or some shit, and I'm just gonna get there and they're gonna kill me. Other than if it's not that specific thing, then I'm probably good to go. But no, like honestly, it made me even more excited to just be closer to that because it is a 20-minute drive at the most from my house up there. So I'm gonna be up at that bitch nonstop. Like
that's pretty dope.
Do they have like come-in days? Like anybody can sign up and do it?
That was one of them.
Ooh.
It was $25.
Are we gonna start
putting my car? I am not doing that. Like they made the joke, and I'm like, yeah, let me fucking blow my engine on the fucking starting line real quick, because like anything I'd go up against out there would just be like smack. It's like smack. Like I'd have to pay. Like for one, if I ever wanted to, which I do want to build a car to do something, but I think it's going to be more Gambler 500 territory than it is going to be.
Oh yeah,
drag strip territory. I'd have to pay that car off first, but also it's a front wheel drive, and I'm not really sure if people drag front wheel drive that much.
I mean, people have done it.
I mean, yeah, but like that's not the thing. Like you spin out, you try to get it up in the air, which by the way, somebody got it a little too up in the air. Somebody made it a quarter mile on their back tires.
Oh damn!
Oh god.
And that shit shut the fucking event down for about an hour and 25 minutes.
So that's why you took so long.
Yeah, that was one of the other issues. When he came back down, it fucking hit so hard. I think he broke an axle and he sprayed shit all over the track.
Oof.
Like, and dude, it was so fucking cold out there too. I dressed because I expected it to be like bathing in sun because it was at 5. But surprise, that's nighttime apparently. So, who knows? But no, man, like everything was awesome. I can't wait to go back at that place when there's more shit going on. Cause just like walking around and seeing all the different trailers with their cars torn apart and they're working on them in between the different, I'm not sure what you call it. Like, yeah, cause like there's different, the whole 352 shootout is there's like all these different brackets and categories of like races. So they had like big tire, little tire, street car, daily driver, essentially borderline funny cars, Some of them were funny cars, which, Vac, if you don't know, is essentially like a plastic shell, an ungodly engine. Like, get away from it.
It's a thing you only want to drive for a quarter mile.
Yeah. And some of the ones that are like, oh, this is my daily driver, I'm like, no, get the fuck out of here. Because, like, some of these daily drivers they had, like, you could just see they already had the fat-ass tires on it. It was already set up for the drag strip. And, like, some of these cars, some of these engines are so fucking gas hungry that whenever you like, if you drove it a mile, like it's in the negative. Like I'm not even sure what the gas mileage. Fucking, it's definitely not like a gallon a mile, if that, or some shit.
Is that what you're thinking? Is that the kind of funny car that was there?
Yeah, there was some of them like that, almost exactly like that. There was one that was a fucking Camaro from the 90s, and that bitch looked like a spaceship. It was pretty dope. There was also a shitty, dirty ass, nasty ass white Chevy Z71 stepside. And they kept calling it like the fucking turbo truck, and upon closer inspection, it was a shell. But like it had like the actual panels of the truck on it. That bitch blew everything out of the water. That bitch went up against a fucking someone's rich experiment of a Corvette and blew it off the track. Like that thing was awesome. Like I saw it pull up and it did the fucking like Nissan Skyline like that bullshit. You know, like the I don't even know what
the wind down.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun. I had fun. It was
nice.
Unexpected and all.
It sounds like a cool time. However,
like that's one thing I want to do is I want to build like a daily driver project kind of car, like how Money Pit is with the Miata.
Yeah.
And do track days. That's something I want to try and do so
hard.
A
Mazda RX-7 up.
Ooh. Is that one of the rotary ones?
I don't know what it was because it didn't sound like nothing like that. But...
Okay. It wasn't powered by Doritos. See, here's the thing. When me and Vac talk wrestling, Cody doesn't really have anything to say. But when me and Cody talk about cars, Vac doesn't really have anything to say.
Yeah, I've been just sitting here waiting for it to peter out, honestly. Because, like, I could go, all right, Cody, we need to move on. But the thing we need to move on is my vibe. So I don't want to sound like a massive fucking dickhead. Oh, God.
Dude, I found that crate. I can send it.
Yeah, put it in the chat.
No, I can't put black and white all day.
Ooh, that was there?
Yeah, that was there. I got to see that. Oh, you know what? What was heartbreaking about it? He fucked up too. That bitch had so much torque that whenever the green came on, I think he fucked up his shifting. The whole fucking car vertically jumped up in place. The tires skipped, and that whole bitch just levitated, crashed back down, and fucking took off and stood straight up. Everyone, like the whole crowd was like, what the fuck? Like, it was awesome.
Was it like the transmission fucking blew out from under or something?
No, it didn't blow anything. He just, like, fucked it up. He might have had too much air in the... By the way, Vac, if you look at those two pictures, top to bottom, this is a pretty cool difference. You see how it looks like that tire's ripping on that Camaro is what that is? Yes. The one up above it, was it the parts peddler? I think I almost said pasta peddler. We're gonna call it the pasta peddler. It's like a thick tire. Modern drag tires are like lacking a little bit of air to like grip the track. Classic one, just like thick ass rolling around like.
See, that pasta peddler tire looks kind of like the tires on a forklift.
Yeah, that looks like just straight rubber.
Yeah, there's a hashtag for the shootout.
I just realized that funny car I posted was called the Violator.
Wow. Is it in Spawn?
Yeah, that orange car is definitely.
All right. Well, should we move on?
Absolutely. I'll stop talking.
You can talk about cars more after we're done recording, but for now, I guess we'll go on to my vibe. So, like, it's kind of lucky that we had all this stupid jiggery pokery go on where the summit had to be delayed and fucking episode 100 was live, but I was like barely there because I've been stuck in quarantine for the last couple weeks. And fucking all I've been able to really get into is Mandalorian. And Mandalorian is great, but like there's not much we can talk about with it vibe-wise. It's just a very good, straightforward show. However, I do have, serendipitously, 2 Marvel Legends to talk about, because we talked about a Marvel thing in the main topic. I have one pretty new guy and one very old guy, and they are both of varying degrees of quality. So let's start off with the newer guy. I got fucking the new Deluxe War Machine, and he looks spectacular. I think the articulation and the effects could be slightly better though. And I'm not like butthurt over it because I got this guy at a slight discount. He's retails for $30. I got him for 26 plus shipping. But like the articulation is just a little tight and a little limited in certain spots where I'd rather it's not. Like the shoulder pads aren't as big a problem as you think they're going to be, but they are a problem. And the fucking apparatus on the minigun is on. That thing loves to come off its ball joint if you're not careful with it. And also, I just kind of wish the sculpt on it was a little sharper. It's kind of soft focus, and I wish the individual barrels were picked out better, but it's not the end of the world. The rocket launcher looks great. I love that he's got the twin arm cannons only on the one side. The whole look of this figure is just fantastic because it's pretty much directly based off of the fucking War Machine debut issues, which Chris and I reviewed way back when on this very show. So I'll try and remember to put a link to that in the cards for this. But like it all the little greeblies and stuff look great. It looks right out of those issues, right down to the fucking James Rhodes helmetless head that just has this perfect fucking likeness. It's probably the best likeness I've ever seen on a Hasbro 6-inch figure compared to something that you have source material for. As far as like an actual human face, helmet heads and people in masks are a little different. The effects, however, are a little hit or miss for me. I like the 2 bits you plonk over the shoulder cannons. The missiles and the Gatling gun fire are fine. The little like pew pews and the smoke for the arm cannon are great. I'm really glad they have those in Marvel Legends now because it seems like they're getting a ton of use out of them, and they work great on pretty much any figure who has a hole in their gun. However, the effect that's supposed to make it look like he's doing a sweeping blast with his arm, it is well executed and it fits onto him fine. However, because of the limited articulation, it's kind of impossible to get him in a pose where it looks like he's actually doing it. Like it just looks slightly awkward in any pose I put it in. Yeah. Also the blast off effects, kind of wonky. It's technically 4 pieces, 2 pieces that go to each foot, because there's like regular blast effects you can tab into his feet if you want to pose him on a flight stand. But then there's these like blasting off from the ground effects that those slot into, and you're supposed to be able to just like peg him onto the effects and have him standing there like he's blasting off. But the actual like blasting off from the ground parts, they're not sculpted evenly on the ground. They're a bit wobbly, so it's hard to get him to just like look like he's hovering there. Like if you shake the thing he's on at all, he will fall over, and that really annoys me. I don't know why they didn't sculpt those flat, but they really should have. So like it's a very hit or miss figure. I think there's enough good here, and like it fulfills my need that I've had literally since I discovered the Toy Biz one for a good 6-inch War Machine. There's just a few niggling things here and there that I'm like, I wish this was better. I can probably get it. I can probably get the blast off effects to work if I support him with a flight stand, but it's also like these should just fucking work out of the box. So that annoys. There's like little nitpicks here and there. However, as is, he's a decent figure, and I do like him. And the other thing I got was the Hobgoblin Wave Daredevil. And by Hobgoblin wave, I mean the Build-A-Figure Hobgoblin from way back when Hasbro was just restarting Marvel Legends, and they did modern Hobgoblin as a Build-A-Figure. So this is a pretty old figure. I'm not exactly well versed in bucks and things like that, but I'm like 90% sure he's on a Bucky Cap body because he is pretty awkward, not gonna lie. I bought him mainly just because it's the newest classic red comic suit Daredevil that exists, and I wanted one because I pre-ordered the Into the Spider-Verse wave and bought like free extra hand ninjas. So I'm gonna have a big ass Stiltman and I'm gonna have some hand ninjas. Kind of need Daredevil now. And like you can get him to stand fine. It's just due to the nature of the sculpt and the detents of the joints, he can never look completely natural. He's always in like a super kung fu stance or like something that looks just slightly awkward. Which is not the end of the world. However, it does make me go like, oh, they really need to do an updated Daredevil in Marvel Legends. I hope that's coming in a future wave. And I went to look into, because people always tell me that like the Back in Black Daredevil they did from the recent Charles Soule run is like a really good update to this. But I went and looked at it and it's on the exact same buck. So I can't imagine it being that much better. And also like I went through a really crazy rigmarole trying to get this thing because, and this is the bit that made me make this my vibe. I went to look for it on eBay and it was like ridiculously expensive to get it in good condition on eBay. So I was like, okay, does anywhere else have it? And the first place I went, Amazon, was like the only place I found that was less than $100 for it. It was $68 on Amazon. So I was like, okay, I'll bite the bullet on that because that's significantly less than everywhere else. And I bought it from an Amazon seller. I'm not going to name that Amazon seller because I don't like fucking DDoSing people. But a week went by, and I also ordered one other figure from the seller. A week went by, and this package gets here, and they didn't send me Daredevil. They sent me fucking Beast. And like, Beast is a fairly rare and expensive figure in his own right, but I didn't want Beast. I'm not interested in doing Marvel Legends X-Men. I wanted Daredevil. And I was like, what the fuck? You literally did not. You sent me probably the furthest thing from what I ordered as you could have. And they were like, oh, sorry, I guess our system mixed up. If you want a refund, you can send it back. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? So I go through the headache of filing for a refund on Amazon. And usually they're like, okay, just print out a label and we'll have somebody come by and pick it up the next day. I had to take it to the fucking UPS store and drop it off, which was like an extra irritating headache. And the whole reason I ordered this thing instead of trying to look for it locally was because I'd been on lockdown and I only just that day had gotten like the okay of like, yeah, you don't have COVID anymore. You can fucking go out and be with people again if you wear a mask. And had this happened like a day or two before then, I wouldn't have been able to take this to the UPS store. So that was like a super nerve-wracking, irritating thing for me to realize. But I went ahead and went out and took it to the UPS store. And while I'm at the UPS store, it hits me that like, oh yeah, I can be out and about now. I don't have to hunt for this thing online anymore. Let me fucking call Toy Federation and see if they have it. So I call Ryan at Toy Federation and I explain to him like exactly the figure I'm looking for, and he's like, let me check. And then he's like, yeah, we have it. How soon can you be here? And I'm like, fucking, I don't know, 10 minutes? Because I'm right down the road from them at this UPS store. And I go there and he's like, so we have a new one and we have a loose one. Which one do you want? And the loose one was like a little dinged up. So I was like, oh, I'll take the new one. And he's like, and I see the price tag on it is $50. And I'm like, okay, that's less than I paid on Amazon, but still, I'm like wincing at it. And he goes, oh, that's probably not. I guess he like saw my facial expression because I didn't actually wince or say anything. I was just like, okay, I'm gonna swallow this bullet because I'm here. And he goes, oh, that's probably not as much as this is now. Let me double check it on eBay. And he's like, oh no, it's gonna be like $20 less. Wait a minute, did you want the Build-A-Figure part? And I'm like, no. All right, $35. So like basically half of what I fucking half and then some of what I paid on this Amazon seller who tried to fuck me over, I'm pretty sure, is what I paid in person. And basically learned the lesson of fucking call your local people before you go hunting for shit online, because you're probably going to find a better deal, even if it doesn't seem like a deal. And that was a whole thing. But I've got my Daredevil now. He's probably as good as he can be until we get a new Marvel Legends Daredevil. So I'm happy with him. And yeah, that's pretty much it for my vibe.
Nice, some cool figures.
I also bought a figure. I also bought a figure at my local toys. Except the guy acted strange.
Huh.
I was like, it was a Prime Ratchet. I'm also fighting a fucking eyelash.
Man.
It was Transformers Prime Ratchet, which I'd always wanted, and it was $15 loose. Looked pretty nice. You could definitely tell that they had just bought these from someone because they were all freshly bagged. What I didn't catch on to, but I did question, I was like, why is there paper in the bag with these guys? They were dryer sheets.
Oh.
This was just disgustingly apparently from a smoker's home. Because like he tried to give it to me for free. That was the thing. I was like, I think I'm gonna grab your Prime Ratchet. He's like, oh man, just take it, dude. I'm like, nah, man, it's $15, I'm like, it's fine. And he's like, all right, 10. I'll give you a deal. And I thought he was just trying to be nice. I think he was just trying to.
That's kind of amazing.
Because it was also Cody, kind of rough.
You technically just did a second vibe, so we're gonna have to penalize you, and you're not getting a vibe next week now. I'm joking. But no, let's go ahead and wrap things up. So Cody, since you were already talking, why don't you go ahead and let everybody know who you are and where they can find your shit?
Well, my name is Cody Burke, and you can find me on just about anything. But if you want to find me on Instagram, it's never_robot. If you want to find me on YouTube, it is Snowcone83. And it's pretty much Snowcone83 on everything else. If you do find yourself looking, you could put a space in between Snow and Cone, a space between Snow Cone and 83, or you could capitalize the S in one of those.
You really got to centralize that thing, brother. Get yourself like a link tree or something.
Well, I don't have my own. That'll be Snowbony. But
Boingo, where can people find your shit if you want them to?
Hey, howdy. My name is Boingo Rider. You can find me on the YouTubes where I do video essay editorial things at Boingo Rider. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Boingo_Rider. You can find me on Twitch at Boingo Rider. And you can you can just follow me. Just do it.
Don't you have a Discord server or something?
I do. You can join the Discord server with the link in the description.
Okay, buddy.
Fucking thanks.
Yeah. Hi everybody. I am the Vacuuminator, your modular king of the content ring. Oh, that moniker is not pompous at all. I may need to change it soon. But hey, I have YouTube videos. You can find them at youtube.com/thevacuuminator. That's spelled TheVacuuminator. I am also available on the social medias. You can find me on Twitter at The Vacuuminator and on Instagram at The Vacuuminator. I do figure photography there. And hey, definitely want to check out those YouTube links because I just announced that coming next month, I am going to be doing quite the undertaking in doing the much anticipated, long awaited follow-up to my hit series, Megaforce Sucks. What if Megaforce was good? Just put up the teaser for that today as of this recording. It's probably a little bit old by the time you're hearing this, but yeah, go check that out. Go get hyped for that if that's a thing you know me for. Yeah. But this podcast is brought to you by Modular Media, the online creative co-op that we are all a part of. We also do another show on here called MMWP, Modular Media Wrestling Podcast. It's a weekly live podcast that Boingo Writer and I do where we discuss all the happenings in the world of wrestling in the past week that have caught our interest. So if you want to check that out or hear every episode of this podcast as it comes out, go ahead and subscribe and ring the bell in order to enable notifications. Please also give us a like and a comment because that helps us out in the YouTube algorithm. And if you ever want to listen to this show on the go, do remember we have a Google Drive folder down in the video description with MP3s of every previous episode of Analytical Fanboys in it. And if you want to keep up with updates on the show as well as other things we're doing, go ahead and follow us on Twitter at the Modular Media and join our subreddit r/Modular Media. But that's going to do it for this episode of Analytical Fanboys. We will see you next week when we will be discussing Edge of Tomorrow. And also Snowcone shitting his pants, apparently.
All you need is kill.
Ah!